Hello everyone, and welcome to the guide on a Champion's Path trophy or achievement. So in order to get this achievement, you have to defeat a Night Lord with every single character at least once. So the most important thing about this is that you don't actually need to kill like different Night Lords. You can, if you want to, kill one single Night Lord with all the characters. So if you really want to, you can just go fight Tricephalos with all 8 characters and kill Tricephalos with every single one, because Tricephalos is like really easy, right? So you don't have to go for the harder Night Lords. So if you're struggling with this trophy, I highly recommend that you go for some of the easier Night Lords. You don't have to go for Tricephalos, obviously. You can go for other easy Night Lords. So you can go with whichever one you personally find easy, and if you don't really know, the ones that are considered to generally be rather easy are like Tricephalos is one of them for sure. Also, Fissure in the Fog is pretty easy as well. Augur for ranged characters specifically is very easy. So I'd say those are pretty good Night Lords to go for when you're trying to do this with like characters you're really struggling with. Also, some characters are pretty bad in solo play, so if you're playing solo, you might struggle with them. So the characters that I'm referring to specifically are like Revenant and Recluse. Recluse is definitely the worst. Recluse is really bad in solo. You can make it work, like if you just learn how to do it, you can play Recluse in like solo runs, but it's hard. If you're struggling with it, yeah, just go with like, you can even play with randoms. It'll be easier probably to do it with randoms than to play solo Recluse. Revenant is also not that great solo, although she is a bit more manageable. Most other characters are fine in solo, but yeah, those two are like the worst for it, especially Recluse. So as for some tips on the characters, in case you don't really know them that well, so Wilder is like good with everything other than spellcasting. He's also really good solo, and is just he's, in my opinion, the strongest character in the game. So you shouldn't really struggle with him. He's good with like 90% of the weapons in the game. He's particularly great with greatswords, but he can also play like any weapon that is that scales well with dexterity and strength, which are most of the weapons in this game. His ultimate is also very strong, so do use it a lot, especially on the boss. Guardian has low damage, but he's very tanky. And make sure to utilize his passive a lot. And do the guard counters, because Guardian is heavily based on doing the guard counters, especially when you're using halberds. Halberds are really good on Guardian because he has a special guard counter on it, on halberds, that he can charge up for more damage and stance damage. So yeah, be sure to abuse the guard counters and play like buffs and stuff that are good for that playstyle. Iron Eye is just a really strong character in general. Be sure to use his skill a lot. His skill also has iframes, so do remember that you can use it to dodge attacks. Use ultimate only on marked enemies for more damage, and don't really use any weapons that aren't bows on Iron Eye, because Iron Eye is very tuned for bows, and he's just really not that great with anything else. For Duchess, so the thing that you might not know about Duchess is that she actually has a ton of intelligence. She has very high intelligence and decently high faith. So her intelligence is actually higher than her dexterity. So she's actually supposed to be played as a spell sword. So be sure to actually make use of that. Get some spells, play some weapons that scale with intelligence. Moonveil particularly is really good with Duchess. And the dagger, the magic dagger, I think it was called Chris Blade or something like that. That one is also very good. And the Ashes of War on both of these weapons scale a lot with intelligence. And she's gonna deal a ton of damage with them. Also, if you're using heavy spells, be sure to use your skill right after that spell to basically double the damage. Well, not really double, but yeah, increase the damage quite a bit without spending your FP. Raider is just really strong. He's just a really strong character in solo and in multiplayer. Just play heavy weapons. Also, his moveset on Great Axes, Great Hammers, and Colossal Weapons is not that great. So I actually highly recommend playing Power Stance on him. So dual wielding weapons like 2 Great Axes or 2 Colossal Weapons, right? Or 2 Great Hammers instead of 1, because that changes his moveset to the default one for the Power Stance, and it makes him just really, really strong. His skill is very strong. Use it to like basically avoid a dangerous attack for free and deal some damage and stance damage. Also, be careful with his ultimate, because sometimes it can do weird stuff where it will block the enemy inside of it, where it can still hit you and you can't hit it and stuff like that. But yeah, he's just a really strong character. Revenant, well, use incantations, obviously. Also, use the summons, her summons a lot. Unfortunately, Revenant doesn't really have good weapons other than her starting weapon and Cypher Pata and like the Coded Sword. Those are like the only good weapons on her. And you can't really get Cypher Pata or Coded Sword every day, right? Or like every run. So you should usually go for upgrading your default weapon if you're planning to use it. She also has quite a lot of trouble with FP. So make sure to get some Starlight Shards for those boss fights, because that will come in helpful for sure. And yeah, you just have to kind of learn how to use her summons properly, manage them. It's not that hard, you just have to get used to it. For Recluse, as I said before, I highly recommend you do Recluse in multiplayer. Obviously, Recluse is very good with all kinds of spells, all the sorceries, all the incantations. She's very strong with those. She's not really good with any melee armaments other than Coded Sword and Cypher Prada. She's pretty bad with all the other ones. Even the ones that you would think she'd be good with, like Moonlight Greatsword, she's not actually all that strong with. Wilder deals more damage with Moonlight Greatsword than her. Her skill recharges FP, so do remember about that. And it's quite complicated, but you don't really need to learn it to play her all that effectively, to be honest. Yeah, and she's very squishy, so do be careful with that. She's the squishiest character in the game. And Executor. So Executor has very high dexterity and very high arcane. He's the only character in the game that has high arcane. So do abuse it. Use a lot of status effects on him. He's really, really good with katanas. He is also good with like heavy status effect weapons like the Unspur Rapier or Eleonora's Pole Blade. He's very good with those as well as katanas. His skill is kinda not that great. You usually won't really be using it. It's okay, like it's decent in solo, it's pretty much useless in multiplayer. His ultimate, on the other hand, is very good, and the ultimate heals you to full HP, so do remember that. If you're low and you want to conserve your flasks, you can just ult, and you will heal to full HP, and it will double, obviously, for the duration of the ult. He's generally pretty strong. He's a pretty strong character in solo especially. In multiplayer, he's decent. And you shouldn't really have much trouble with him to get that win. So yeah, that's really it for this video. Just defeat one Nightler with every single one of these. Like yeah, for example, you can also just, you know, choose the Night Lord that is the best for that specific Nightfarer, right? So for example, Recluse, you probably want to play something that is not too aggressive, that gets really in your face, right? So like Augur would be good. Sentient Pass is alright, although Sentient Pass is highly resistant to magic. Tricephalos, obviously, because Tricephalos is like easy for pretty much everyone. And yeah, just choose what you feel like will be the easiest for you for that particular Nightfarer. But yeah, you can just go with Tricephalos on every single one, and it'll be probably the easiest. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya!